Welcome to Biology 1B. We're going to get started now. I think thanks for braving the rain and coming in, all of you. There's a lot of information and a lot of housekeeping things that you guys need to know, and most of it's from me. And I've heard a lot of information from questions to me up to now. So what I'd like to do, I'm certainly not going to open to the questions here, but I'll be right after class, be in my office. It's 2013. It's right around the corner if you have any questions. A lot of your questions can be answered on our webpage, on our syllabus. So go to the Biology 1B webpage, and you look under announcements and under the syllabus. Like a lot of you are trying to switch sections, and you can discuss that in there. Rather than waiting in a long line to see me, which you're welcome to do, a lot of that information you can get right out of our syllabus. So again, welcome to Biology 1B. I think you're in for a really good course. You have 3 really devoted instructors that have been teaching this and teaching biology for a very long time. So my name's Mike Moser. I'm the coordinator. You see me for all the administrative things. Before we get started, I just want to make a couple quick introductions before I introduce you to Professor Fellman, who you'll see for the next 14 lectures. Terry Curran is in the corner. Terry has been a tutor for us for a very long time, knows the material very well, and he volunteers his time on Fridays from 9 to 11 in the TA room. And when we talk about the TA room or the common rooms, that's 2013, so he'll be in there each Friday. So before we get going, I want to introduce you to one of the people that you're going to see next, Professor Craig Moritz. And then
well, good morning all. As you can tell, I talk funny. I'm Australian, so we'll need some simultaneous translators in the room. And unlike the others in this course, I haven't taught freshman biology here before. I've taught it elsewhere. But I love teaching. I love evolution. I hope to convince you it's one of the most vibrant, exciting subjects on the planet. If I don't do that, I've failed. But first of all, having just walked in here, put your hand up if you brought an umbrella in this morning. I'm taking this time. Who tried to walk in this morning with an umbrella? Okay, keep your hand up if it worked. I'm just checking to see how crappy my umbrella was. Okay, I'm done. I'll see you in the middle of the course. Have fun.
Was that here? Good morning. My name is Louis Feldman. I'd like to also welcome you to the class. Professor Resch, who is the instructor that follows Dr. Moritz, was not here this morning. He usually likes to make an announcement, but on behalf of Dr. Resch, I'd also like to welcome you to this class. Biology 1B is a large class. It's a class in which all the instructors have asked to teach. We all want to be here. We all want to interact with you, and hopefully we want to convey to you our enthusiasm about biology, and perhaps, if we're successful, convert some of you into being biologists in the respective fields that we teach. Now, my office hours are posted over here to my left, to your right, and I can also be reached by email, and I'm very glad to answer questions. And as well, many of you will like to see me for an appointment, and I'm glad to do that as well. All you have to do is write me and let me know when would be a good time, and I'll check my calendar. So keep in mind that we want to interact with you. Now, I want to tell you a bit about my lecturing style. I have been up for about 3 or 4 hours before the class. I've had a couple of cups of coffee, so I'm ready to get going and ready to really begin the class. And in the past, students have suggested that we have some warm-up exercises to slow me down and to get you up to speed. There isn't time for that. I have only 14 lectures, and I want to make good use of them to convey materials to you. So to help me slow down and to indicate to you what are the important notes, the important things to write in your notes, what I do is I write the important points on the board. So when I write something on the board, that's an indication to you that I consider this important, and you ought to put it into your lecture notes. Secondly, there are outlines of the class that are posted on the web page. Those outlines, you might like to look at them before the lecture to give yourself a chance to spend some time getting up to speed. Sometimes I'll change the lecture notes slightly, but the outlines are more or less correct. And thirdly, we have a webcast. Now, were Dr. Resch here, he would comment, oh, here he is in the back here. Dr. Resch would comment that the webcast is an aid meant to be an assistance to you to help you fill in parts of the lecture that you may have not been able to get down in your notes. Please do not depend on the webcast. Students who only depend on the webcast don't do as well in this class. And I'll tell you why that is in a moment. The webcast is mentioned because it is something that has helped students, especially students who for some reason are ill or who occasionally can't come to lecture. Sometimes the webcast does not work. Sometimes the webcast goes out of focus, so you can't see it. Think of when you guys go to a show versus a live show versus watching something on television. The experience is much different. It's much more real to go to a live presentation. Come to lecture. It's a very important aspect of your being able to learn the material. Use the webcast, but please don't solely use the webcast and avoid the lecture. Now, the class is graded on a curve. Not graded, the class is not graded on a curve. So that means you are competing against no one but yourselves. We know from having taught this class before what you guys can do. We have certain expectations. We set certain goals that we expect you to follow and to meet up to. And if you meet those goals, which we outlined very clearly in the beginning, you are able to we would be glad to give everybody in this class A's. So remember, you are competing against only yourself. We do not have a fixed number of A's and B's and C's. We want you, if you perform well, we'd be glad to give all of you A's. It's an important aspect of the class. All three instructors play down memorization. We want you to understand concepts. We want to test your thinking. One of the biggest criticisms that we get from the students in this class when they write their evaluations is that the answers on the exams weren't obvious. That means you couldn't memorize an answer and find it in the multiple choice section of the exam. What we will do is present you with facts, with experiments, with observations, and from these we will then ask you to synthesize, to come up with new ideas, and those new ideas will be part of the answer. So we're playing down memorization. Obviously there are some terms, some dates you will want to memorize. Biology is a new language, a new vocabulary, and so keep that in mind as you're going through the class. If you solely memorize, you're not going to do well, at least on my portion of the exams. Going to test understanding. Now, I bring into this lecture a lot of materials, a lot of demo materials. I want to encourage you to come up either before or after the lecture to touch the material, to smell it. In some cases, you might even want to taste it. Learning is much more solidified in your mind if you use more of your senses besides the sense of sight and sound. Use the other senses that you have to solidify these concepts, many of which are new. I also will show you, although we don't have today, a lot of illustrative material via PowerPoint and slides. Most of these pictures are taken from areas of the campus, plant material or situations on the campus. And these are things that many of you pass every day, and it is meant to solidify in your mind concepts that you can daily pass and daily think about, and perhaps even after this class is over. Remember Bio-1B when you pass these particular situations 2 or 3 years after you've taken this class. Now, I want you to take advantage of the fact that we are trying to present the materials, often which are new to you, especially with regard to plants and fungi, by providing you many, many materials. I come to all of the lab sections. The labs are an important portion of the class. The labs are yet another way to solidify concepts, to actually put your hands on the material that we present you and to look at them. In the evolution section, you'll be doing certain exercises, as well in the ecology section. We try to have a theme which runs through the class. These are not 3 separate classes. These are classes which are linked and which are meant to come as a whole for you. So use the lab, use the experience to solidify, again, these concepts. Now, when I come into the lab, I do it for several reasons.